What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Kite Cosmic here, but you could call me Kite. I'd appreciate that. So, today we have something special on the agenda. It's the morning time, man. I'm still rubbing the sleep out of my eye, man. How's everyone feeling, bro? I'm having a great day. I hope you have a great day, and welcome on in to all my first time viewers and the people that have been here. Shout out to y'all, bro, and drop that like if you feel like it, man, and subscribe if you want to, because we talk about JJK and other things. We'll get into that. But today on the agenda, we have Dabura and the light speed sorcerer. We're going to talk about his curse technique, but a little sneak peek, you're going to want to stick around for this, is I'm going to talk about how Dabura may come into possessing the darkness curse technique and how that's possible. He may create it. So stick around if you want to hear my theory on that. It's sick, bro. I'm telling you. But first, let's get into the bare bones of this and set it up. All right, so a lot of people are comparing Dabura to Sukuna. Not in terms of strength, but just kind of as a character. I kind of don't agree with that. I think he's more akin to Gojo in my most humble opinion, because just like Gojo in his early life, specifically, kind of was overpowered and never really had to fight anyone, and then he fights someone who's actually strong for the first time and gets his ass whooped, like bad. You know, Toji scarred him and traumatized him for life. Multiple times throughout the story, he has like a flash of Toji in his head. So yeah, this is kind of the similar situation with Dabura. As far as his parallels with Sukuna, I think they stop around like people looking at them as monsters because they're strong. That's kind of where the parallels for those guys. And Dabura is more like Gojo in the fact that he is a genius but doesn't really know all of what he can do with his technique. Sukuna knows everything. He knows what he can do with his technique and push it to the pinnacle. He knows everything about sorcery, and Dabura is definitely not that. Like, he doesn't even know as much as a base human weak sorcerer. So he's kind of more like Gojo in that respect. Just wanted to get that out the way. Now, the light speed part. I know that's what you came here for. And my little sneak peek about darkness. How darkness, Kite? We're talking about light. He's got the light curse technique. How do we get to darkness? We'll get to that. Bear with me here. So, he said, or stated in the chapter, that he's never really reached light speed, but he's going to try to achieve near light speed. And that's why I like JJK, because they keep it real. They keep it kosher, man. I don't even know what kosher means. They keep it cool, man. They keep it here with us, man, eye to eye. All these other anime, they're talking about light speed and fastest speed of light. You're not faster than the speed of light. If you took a step or moved up the speed of light on a planet, you blow the planet up, right? So just stop saying light speed. Let's just say they move as fast as a light switch or some dumb stuff like that, because you're not moving at the speed of light. Very rarely does a character in anime actually move at the speed of light. Not that they don't move at the speed of light, but it's never depicted accurately, which is, I'm waiting for the day that someone actually depicts light speed pretty accurately. Now, I'm getting on a tangent. So, he's going to achieve near light speeds. He can't achieve actual light speed because he said that it tears his body apart, right? Realistic. I like that. That makes sense. All right. Okay. I can get behind that. But the kicker is Mahoraga has already adapted to his technique. I don't know if it's a complete adaptation, but at least the adaptation is to the point where the light technique isn't working on him at all, and Dabura has acknowledged that. As far as his other technique, he just seems to be like light was what he relied on, and the other one kind of won't work because he just ends up saying, I'll just beat you with my fist. So clearly the other one isn't going to work, or it's just not applicable here, or maybe he's been using it, and maybe the murderous intent given tangible form is what gives the light a tangible form for him to wield as a weapon. Otherwise, it would just be light, and you can't grab photons. But then again, it is cursed energy, so I don't know how it works with the other technique. We're just going to forget about it for now. But it's not going to work on Mahoraga at this point. So how would he end up defeating Mahoraga? Is it still possible, Kite? Of course. I think you knew that, but I'm going to reinforce it here. How is it possible, though? Maybe you haven't thought of... Because can you really beat Mahoraga with your fist? I know he can only adapt to one phenomena at a time, and in this case, it's light. So technically, you could beat him to death since he hasn't adapted to blunt force trauma. But you can't just... Nobody in the series history, including Dabura, can just punch Mahoraga with a regular punch and blow him up. Like that just isn't going to work, right? With no energy or just regular curse energy, it isn't going to work. So how is Dabura going to do it? Well, I'm going to tell you, okay? So if he can ramp his technique up, and clearly he can apply it to himself to move really fast, if he can get near light speed, travel that fast, and punch Mahoraga at that speed, yeah, he's going to blow Mahoraga to smithereens, and he can win. So that's one way he can still win, but who knows what that'll do to his body. Now, you know how I mentioned the Gojo and Dabura parallels here. The parallels are there because, as I said, they both getting whooped. But what comes with getting whooped by a strong opponent for the first time is an evolution, an awakening. And Dabura seems to be in the midst of that. With Gojo, this dude just unlocked every single technique possible. I don't see why that wouldn't be possible for someone like Dabura. He seems like a genius. Now, Gojo wasn't particularly good at energy control when he was 17 either. This is why I have this opinion that Gojo wasn't a genius when he was born. He didn't have like that control and stuff like that. It's kind of like Yuta. Yuta has a lot of energy, a really good technique, Rika and all that stuff, but he's bad at efficiency. He obviously doesn't have the six eyes, but Gojo had the 6 eyes and he still couldn't get red, and he probably didn't know simple domain. He didn't have a domain expansion. So Gojo really wasn't this genius, right? I think Dabura, being older, having had more battles, he might have the edge on Gojo in terms of mentality and maybe like efficiency and control with his energy. So it would be possible for him to just awaken stuff. And I think the two things, I stated this in my last video, if you want to help me get that video to 1,000 views, I'd appreciate that. Go check it out. That he could possibly awaken reverse curse technique and black flash. Okay. Those may seem like, those are like some of the strongest techniques for humanity. If you can get reverse curse technique, you're already in top fucking 10 sorcerer, top 5, depending on what else you got. You add black flash onto that, top 3. Okay, you gotta have reverse curse technique, a decent technique as well, and you got black flash. Yeah, you're up there. So he can get those. You can stumble across those. You don't have to learn. It's not a domain expansion. You don't have to tinker with it and play with it and figure it out and set the rules and parameters. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do the stuff with simple domain and figure all that stuff out. As far as domain amplification, I'm not really sure. That's also a sort of a barrier type of thing, so I don't think he'd be able to do that right now, but reverse curse technique, black flash for sure. So imagine moving at light speed, near light speed I should say, and then punching Mahoraga with a black flash. That would obliterate him. So add a black flash on top of that, he can still win this fight. Okay. Also, with the reverse curse technique, very bad if he gets that, because then he's going to learn to heal. Not only is he going to heal, what do you think he would do with that healing? It just stated, I can't reach light speed because it destroys my body. You give him reverse curse technique, he's going to heal his body constantly while moving at light speed. And then everyone's cooked. Just pack it up. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. And we've seen people do that. We saw Gojo do it. He can fight while healing himself constantly. So it is possible. I know it's Gojo and it's like 6 eyes and you're comparing him to Gojo, Kai. Like, slow down. That's Gojo. But look at Dabura. Bro is a monster. There's no reason why he couldn't at least heal himself a little bit. And, you know, that's all it takes, man, is to just kind of slowly get the hang of it. And that's it. So he'll be moving at light speed. What do you think? Where does that place Dabura? But first of all, where do you even rank Dabura in terms of JJK all time? Do I have him in the top 3? Do I think he could beat Kenjaku? Possibly. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't agree with my assessment that Kenjaku's top 3. They like to put Yuta and stuff up there, but Kenjaku is a master of barriers. So Yuta has no chance in a domain expansion battle. Bro, it's Kenjaku, bro. His reverse curse technique, he's a genius. I just don't think Yuta stands there. So would I put Dabura above Kenjaku? Without a domain expansion, it's hard, man. I don't know. Let me know y'all's thoughts on that. Also, if you made it this far in the video, I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers by March 1st. Anything helps, bro. You don't have to, but feel free if you want to show some love to hit that subscribe button, and we'll do this together, man. You feel me? All right, so with that, healing himself, and then also healing himself while using his technique so he can push his technique to further heights. Maybe that was all he was missing. Okay, but it doesn't end there. Here's where we get down to the nitty gritty. Knife in him. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right. Reverse curse technique. Do you know what that is, right? That's taking two sources of negative energy, multiplying them together. Two negatives equal, you know the quote, two negatives equal a positive, and that gives you a positive source of energy, and that energy can be used to heal. You know what else you can do with that source of positive energy that you just created? You can add that to another source of negative energy, right? And you know what that other source of negative energy is? That negative energy would be your technique itself, okay? Not just the energy, but your technique, which should be pure negative energy as well. You add that together, you know what happens? Your technique reverses, and you get curse technique reversal. We've seen this. Two people in the story use it, Gojo and Kenjaku. Gojo uses it. His red is curse technique reversal. He just applies that positive energy to his blue. It flips it, makes it red. And now instead of pulling stuff in, it pushes stuff away. Simple, right? Kenjaku is another person that uses it. He stole Yuji's mom, or his like OG mom, her body, stole the body. The body had the technique of anti-gravity system engraved into it. We know what anti-gravity means. It shouldn't bring stuff down. It should let stuff float. Opposite. Or yeah, just the antithesis of something. You get it, right? It shouldn't be putting stuff to the ground. Yet Kenjaku, when he uses anti-gravity system, puts everything to the ground like gravity. So he uses curse technique reversal to flip the effects of the anti-gravity system technique. Pretty cool. Can you apply that to light? What's the opposite? What's the reverse of light? If Dabura then lights up his fist or makes a little light ball in his hand or something, takes that positive energy that he just learned for reverse curse technique, combines it, and turns his technique into darkness, or whatever the opposite of light would be, the absence of light, which should be darkness, space. I don't know, bro. Do we even know the true opposite of light? We just assume it's darkness, right? Who knows, man? Let's not get too philosophical. It's darkness. So then he'd have darkness, and he could also use that to defeat Mahoraga. Since Mahoraga adapted to light, he wouldn't be adapted to darkness. This is a tentative case, though, because it's still the light curse technique. It's just flipped. So when Mahoraga was adapting to blue and infinite void, he hadn't quite adapted to red yet. So we could say that red in and of itself was perceived as a different phenomenon than blue, even though they're the same technique, because he did eventually end up adapting to it. But I think that was because Gojo hit Sukuna in the back with it, and it kind of like adapted him. Or maybe he hit Mahoraga with it before, I'm not sure. But he wasn't adapted to it, and Sukuna acknowledged that, hey, he's not using red because he doesn't want Mahoraga to adapt to it. Okay, so yes, tentatively, but more than likely, darkness would be something that Mahoraga wouldn't be adapted to. And so any technique involving the darkness, curse technique reversal, light, curse technique reversal, darkness, hey, hollow shade, hollow void, no, some bullshit like that. But that would cook Mahoraga, and that would be done, right? And at that point, Dabura is on a different level. He can now move at light speed while healing himself constantly through reverse curse technique. He has reverse curse technique, which he can just heal himself standardly if he gets hit with any attack. Now he has reverse curse technique, so he can use curse technique reversal, potentially flip the effects of his original curse technique, which is light, into darkness. And now he has darkness. He could potentially get Black Flash. Where are we ranking Dabura if he could get all this? Because realistically, he could. There's no reason he couldn't. He could learn this in the span of 2 minutes. I guarantee you he has that type of potential and genius ability. Maybe, maybe not, but I'd bet my money that he does. I wouldn't bet my money, actually, because it's a mind thing. I always say this. Jujutsu battles and sorcery are not power. It's not a power-based fight. It's not Dragon Ball. It's a brain thing. It's a how much knowledge do you have over your power. And the aliens, the Semurians, the Rumelians, Deskunte, whatever tribe you're from on that alien planet, they do not possess knowledge of advanced sorcery techniques. And so maybe that lack of knowledge would hinder Dabura. So this is all tentative, of course. Take it with a grain of salt, but all of it is possible in theory if he could do it. Like, you don't need the knowledge to do a Black Flash. It can come to you in a flow state. Same for reverse curse technique. You don't need the knowledge on how to do it. Now, Gojo was playing with the idea of red. He was able to like sort of get red to like spark up. So he kind of knew the basics of it. But there are many people that get reverse curse technique just out of freaking nowhere. Like Higuruma got that shit instantly in a matter of seconds out of fear. He was like, all right, if I don't heal, I'm a... So, but then again, he talked to all these people and they prepped for this fight. So he kind of maybe learned the basics of what you're supposed to do. It's kind of hard to think about multiplying two sources of energy together randomly. So I don't know if Dabura could get Black Flash for sure. Reverse curse technique, that'd be a lot harder, but it could be something that comes to him on his deathbed where he's like, heal, heal, heal. And he's like, and the freaking God comes to him and is like, do this, my son. And he does it. Possible. What do you think, guys? At that point, could Yuji defeat Dabura? Absolutely. Why? Because of a domain expansion, man. Domain expansion is the peak of sorcery. It doesn't matter what your technique is, bruh. If you get trapped in a domain without any protection, you are a defenseless, helpless child. You can't do anything. Well, depending on what the technique is. So, like, if you get trapped in Hikari stuff, you're good, bro. Like, he's immortal, yeah, but you can still fight back. You get trapped in Higuruma stuff, you're good. As long as, like, even if it strips you of your curse technique, Higuruma cannot beat Dabura in a hand-to-hand fight. So, domain isn't all that, but a lot of domains, pack it up, bro. He gets trapped in Mahito's domain, dead. Gojo's dead. Sukuna's dead. Yuji's dead. Yuta's probably dead. So, yeah, depending on the nature of your domain, yeah. So, Yuji could still win this fight, but it'd be very hard to even get him inside the domain. You have to time it just right, and I don't think... Try to time your light switch, bro. Like, it's impossible. Light, you're not going to be able to time that. And then you add darkness on top of that. Reverse curse tech, like, I don't know if Yuji could beat him, but at least not hand to hand. Domain expansion, I think at that point, Yuji's a good boxer, man. He's got good hands. He can fight with the best of them. I don't think you can fight someone that is moving at light speed and can punch you at the speed of light. In my opinion, I just don't think that might be possible. But who knows, man? Let me know your thoughts. That's the video. Let me know what you're interested in talking about. I can cover something else, JJK related, not JJK related. All you have to do is drop it down. Remember, I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, shout out to you, bro. Real stuff. These other folks, hate, bro. You're a real one. And help a brother out if you feel like it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
君の気持ちを大事にしなかった私の頭